Entertalk Radio, your in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are tuned back to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I'm Scott, your host, and a man who has been described by many as the Wonder Woman of marketing men. You know, it's because of the cool boots. I got to say, the boots make the whole outfit, kids. And back at Entertalk HQ, hanging out on his own paradise island, is Paul B. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just saw Wonder Woman yesterday, finally.
What'd you think?
Mixed feelings. I had to watch it because I do a show called Rec Reviews where we get drunk and talk about movies.
Nice.
And I've been
That's
holding
the best way to talk about movies.
Yeah, I've been holding everybody up. Everyone's seen it like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't get a chance. But I finally saw it. Originally I thought it was going to be really bad, and then everyone was saying how good it was, so I thought it was going to be really good. And when I went to see it, I was like, kind of. It wasn't. It was okay. It had good parts and bad parts. Obviously, Gal Gadot is just gorgeous and awesome. But the movie itself had a few weak spots that were hard to ignore.
You know, it's an origin story, so origin stories are always going to move slow, right? You're the director, and you've got to tell the origin story.
I don't mind that. I don't mind slowness. I mind like cheesy kind of like cliched things, and that always tend to happen in final battles.
Well, sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but Wonder Woman, she wins. She wins the whole thing. It's awesome. She lives.
But at what cost? She wins, but at what cost?
Her soul. She hates all men. You know, it's a great metaphor for women today, especially if you're married. You'll really relate to the hatred that comes from women, from the Amazons to all men. They're like, why do we need men? And then my wife's like, I know, right? I know, right? Why do we need that?
How's your wife's shield game?
You don't want to be on the receiving end of that shield, my friend. That is the God Killer sword. She doesn't even need that crap. She could just be like, fine, I'm fine. It's fine. What?
You don't sound fine.
You don't sound fine. I'm fine. Let's just go. Let's just freaking go.
Wow. A rare look into the Robertson private life. It's not all roses like we thought.
Oh, I'm just kidding. She'll listen to this if she were like, did you have to mention me on the show? Could you shut the hell up for 5 seconds? I'm just saying. Well, anyway.
Losing this week, Robertson Com, where Scott has to sleep on the couch.
Scott will be sleeping on the couch for the next foreseeable future. Yes. Well, let's get into some marketing so I can dig myself out of this mess. On with the show. If you have a question for me out there, you can email me at scott@robertsoncom.com. I will answer it right on the show. I will dig right in. Maybe I'll give you credit. Maybe I won't. Maybe you want to make it discreet. And people email them and they say, "Don't put my name on the show." But here's what I'm thinking, because my boss is such and such. And I'm like, I know, I feel you. So anyway. You can also find my posts, my client news clips, other fun stuff at the Robertson.com Facebook page, which is just search Robertson.com on Facebook, and there we are. And also at Robertson.com on Twitter. Reach out and connect. And again, my mission in life here is to entertain you and give you some educational tips as well. I think people learn a little better when they're being entertained, so that's sort of the plan. And the plan for this episode, which is episode 56 of what my mom describes as her favorite show on Entertalk Radio, May the Best Brand Win. The episode 56 is called The Order of Things. And I wanted to address this because it really comes out of my practice at Robertson.com. And I've just been I've been solving a lot of the same stuff lately. And I feel like it's sort of my duty to get out there and be a little bit of a voice of education, because some people have forgotten some really important stuff out there from what I continue to see. So, when you bake a cake, there's an order of how you do it. When you build a house, there's definitely an order to how that's done. When you do professional marketing communications, and for our purposes here, we'll assume that it is professional, there's also an order. there is a sequence of how and when things are done in order to, and that's what's going to determine success. For example, we don't crack the eggs and mix them in, after we've already put the pan in the oven, right? We don't do that, right? There's an order of things. You crack the eggs, you put you mix things together, you mix them up, and then you put it in the pan, and then you bake it, right? If you do those things out of sequence, you don't have a cake. You have something else, which is not a cake. I'm not a construction guy. I've got about a 50% successful completion ratio on any home improvement projects that I undertake. But thank God for YouTube, because that's really upped my percentage in the last few years. Different story, of course. But if you are building a house, here I know this much: you dig and lay the foundation first before you install, say, the third floor sun deck. And the reason that you do that first is so the sun deck has something to attach to and doesn't come crashing down in a big old pile of boards and nails and stuff like that. There is an order to how a house is built. There's an order to how a cake is baked. There is an order to how marketing is done. Yet, some of the kids out there have decided that they know the rules so well that they're going to break them, and they're going to violate the order of things. Bad idea, ladies and gentlemen. Bad idea to violate this order. In the same way that it would be a bad idea to try to install the sun deck on a house that didn't have a foundation or walls, for example. So we're going to hit this topic hard. I'm going to hit you with some points, make sure that you know it. Some of it sounds obvious, and some people say, man, some of the stuff on your show is really obvious. I'm like, would you like me to point to you and show you the stuff that I'm seeing out there that shows just fundamental breakdowns? It's like, it's like you're playing football and the line isn't blocking together, and the quarterback gets sacked on every play. They're like, well, of course we know the line should be blocking. You know what? The Los Angeles Rams know the damn line should be blocking together too. But you know what? Every damn game that I went to at the Coliseum, I saw the line get pushed back and Jared Goff get knocked on his butt for 15 yards. So knowing it and executing it are not the same thing, right? But this is half the battle. We are going to try to learn it, and then we're going to try to make sure that more people are executing it this way because, it's important. It doesn't work the other way. So it's really important. So why do I talk about the message so often? Almost every engagement that I deal with the client, I start with the message. I'm not sure everybody does out there, but I do. This is why it's so important. This is the foundation of how a communications program is built. In Mr. Miyagi terms, message good, karate good. Message sucky, karate equally sucky. I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing the Karate Kid right there. I understand that. But the message gets skipped. It gets skipped. It gets skipped over. And it's like, I was just having a conversation with some very high up guys that run a very big startup company that has a lot of money. And they were saying, well, Scott, we need to get the Twitter going and what do you and the logo and all these kind of things. And I'm like, hold your horses. What's going on with the message? What are we doing with the message here? Oh, well, we feel really comfortable about that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. It's not. It's A, it's not clear, and B, it's not emotional, and B, it's not good. If you're an archer and you spend all your time just shooting anything at the target, it's going to bounce off, right? Isn't it better to make the arrows really sharp, really pointy, have enough feathers on the end of the stupid things, so that they will penetrate the target? The message is so important. It gets skipped so often. It really does remind me of like a musician. I play in a cover band, 5 South, here in good old Orange County. And, if you forget to plug in your cables before you start playing, you're so excited to play, man. It's been weeks. You're excited. You're ready to go play. And you just grab your guitar and you just go out there and you just start ripping into it, right? And people are like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What's going on? Oh, we forgot to plug in our cables. We forgot to plug power in to the wall. We forgot to do the very non-sexy yet ridiculously important stuff that comes first in the order of things. If you forget to plug in your cables at a gig, the show doesn't happen. And I don't care if you're Eddie Van Halen. It's going to be the quietest, awesome guitar solo you ever heard in your life, that you didn't hear in your life, because it's not amplified. You know, these things are important, and they get skipped. Now, any message will not do. Any message can be created by anybody, right? We're this company. We were around for this long. We do this. We provide this service. You know, any old message is not going to do. The message must be good. It must be clear. It must be crystal clear. It can't have all that marketing gobbledygook and BS and smoke in it that worked like a decade ago. People are too wise to that, right? You know, the world has changed, to quote Lord of the Rings. You know, the world has changed, and you should change with it. Your message needs to be emotional. It needs to be about them. They are 150,000% in charge of your brand. So you should make sure that your message is about them. If I see one mistake over and over and over again, it's that the message that a company has, they're just doing too much navel gazing. They're looking down at their own belly button and going, look how great we are. Aren't we awesome? Look at this kind of thing. Stop it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that, right? When I say we want to make an emotional message, we want to get inside their heads. We want to do stuff that moves them to want to have a relationship with us. We want to do stuff that moves them to have a relationship with us. We can't do that by talking about ourselves. We must do that by talking about them. We must have that critical ingredient in all marketing communications today that is called empathy, that is missing. You must be able to project yourself onto them, including and up to the fact that you're about to inflict some marketing on them, and you better be sure, right? What do we talk about on this show? Be sure. Make sure it's great. It's got to be great. It needs to be great. If it's anything less than great, do not send it. Do not send it. Now, people ask me all the time, you know why I think there's so many bad messages out there? Because there are all kinds of people that claim that they practice marketing, but they have the wrong order of things. Graphic artists out there, I love you to death. I love you, graphic artists. But you people should not be doing messaging. Do you know why? Because you are visual artists. And the English language is not your forte. You are not word people. You need word people first. Word people come before picture people, right? Very important. It's very important. And I've had people argue with me about that on panels before. The human mind, we create thoughts in the form of words. We do not create thoughts in the form of pictures. When we have to translate words, now, granted, plenty of things can be communicated without words, but you can be damn sure that they were in the word stage when people were trying to communicate. That's how we communicate as people. We are word people first. Our brains fire in words first. Also, for shared, words are a way for us to share meaning in a vocabulary. You cannot share the exact meaning in a picture-based vocabulary because the picture can evoke different senses of emotion, which can mean different stuff to different people. Words, at least, we have a sort of a tacit agreement to agree that what words mean. This is really important. I just met with a company, from Brooklyn, New York. And they said, oh, well, our graphic artist firm, they came up with the message. And I'm like, are you happy with it? And they're like, no. And I said, it's because you had your graphic artist firm come up with the message. They are not word people. If you're a graphic artist up there, get a word person. It will save your butt. You know, the chances that you're going to be able to deliver some kind of great, amazing, visual compilation and pull the message out of the client are very, very small. That's why you have so many horrific websites. That's why you have so many crappy designs that aren't based on anything. That's why you have so much crappy marketing, is the fact that people don't understand the order of how this stuff is done. Words first. Words first. Very, very important. When I work with all my clients, we create a thing called a message map, and it's, not surprisingly, full of words. It's full of words because nothing exists until we put it in the form of words. And it definitely doesn't exist until you write it down. I go meet with some companies and prospects out there and different companies. And I say, what's the message? And then they just kind of crank it out from memory. And I say, where is it written down? And they say, well, we don't have it written down. And I'm like, so it doesn't really exist. It doesn't really exist, you know? Data that's not written down somewhere doesn't exist, folks. I don't care if it's on a napkin. I don't care if it's on a napkin in the CEO's pocket and he carries it around every day. Whatever. It needs to be written down somewhere. And actually, the napkin would be hard to share, honestly. So I would say like maybe a professional document might be a better way for a business to do that sort of thing. But let's say you're a band. You write it on a napkin. Great. Rock and roll. Very, very important. Message. Emotional message about them, not about you. Very, very important. All that stuff needs to come in the order. I meet with companies that already have a logo designed and they already have a message created by the time they meet with me. Stop it. What are you doing? You know, you had some graphic artists create some visual identity based on what? Are we talking about emotion, meaning to us? Oh, well, we really like the color blue. Oh, we really like the triangles. Who gives a crap? This is a business process. This is a business process, ladies and gentlemen, and you do not get to rewrite it, okay? Words first, message first. Spend a lot of time on the message. Like I said, I have to erase so much stuff out there, which is another question I get a lot is, how hard is it to erase stuff once it's already been out there? It's very hard. It's very, very, very hard. Erasing is very difficult. And getting a second chance to tell your story, especially if you're a startup, is extraordinarily difficult. And why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like go out right the first time. It just will save you and everyone so much of a problem. It is possible, by the way. I do get that question sometimes. It is possible to erase something. It is possible to come back and be this new thing after you've already been this other thing. Startups will call that pivoting, those kind of things. It's just harder. It's just harder. And I would say you should always involve a word person, a marketing person that specializes in words, a wordsmith, a word person first. This is why you need this skill set sort of first. Really, really important. And you need to have that person involved at an early level so that somebody doesn't already say, well, this is our message and we're going to go out and raise funding and here's our logo and here's all. People are so crazy to make a logo before they even know what it means. It's like a logo is supposed to communicate something. So you better know what you're communicating out there. We're talking about the order of things on May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. We're going to talk about who's winning and who is a losing. See you soon.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader on music biz talk. I am Scott. We're hanging out. We're doing episode 56, talking about the order of marketing communications. Paul B is there, making sure it all goes out over the airwaves and stuff.
And I always put the cart before the horse. That's the right way to do it, right?
That's the right way to do it.
Yeah. You just got to go backwards.
If the horse can walk backwards, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. Yeah. I tell you, I see, man, it sounds really obvious, but I just see it all the time. It happens all the time. I come in, I'm like, I mean, it shouldn't be happening as often as I see it, to be honest. It really shouldn't be. So anyway, that's the purpose of this show today. So hopefully get a little messaging out there to right that wrong. Let's talk about who's winning and losing out in the world. We got a fresh crop of this stuff this week, folks. Should we talk about the Ken doll this week? Okay, so Mattel, you know them. They make the toys and stuff, the Barbie and the Ken. They released its Fashionistas line of Ken dolls, which now feature 3 body types, slim, broad, and original, a variety of skin tones, eye colors, hairstyles, and modern fashion looks. One of the one that's been making headlines all around the world is the fact that Ken appears to have a man bun going on. And people are like, does Ken need to have a man bun? And he's not dressed like G.I. Joe, is what I'll say. It's not the look that I would choose. Maybe somebody out there would choose it. I don't know. Maybe more millennials would. They say, it's a millennial Ken. I'm like, okay, I get it. And believe me, I get it that you're Mattel, you're making dolls. You got to figure out some way to shake it up, right? There's only so many astronaut costumes and crap you can sell. So you've got to come up with something. And I get that. But I'm going to put this in losing because I don't like the signal flag that it shares with society. If this is the male role model for how men are going to look going forward, then that might not be good. That might not work out. And they're going to be a lot easier to pick off when machines take over too, by the way. Got to say, you need a few G.I. Joes in there so you can just scare them. I'm just saying. So anyway, we're going to put that in losing. Just for that reason right there. Who's winning is influencer marketing. Very interesting study that came out by the New York Times showed that 85% of people who shared content said that they better understood the product and the company. And the same study showed that 70% of adults say their purchasing decision was affected by the content they see shared on the web. So 70% of adults say their purchasing decision, and your dollar signs are lighting up, is affected by content. That's a terrible word that means interesting stuff that you see shared on the web. This is what makes influencers so valuable to marketers. Influencers and micro-influencers, not necessarily celebrities, subtly drive our purchasing decisions and our app downloads, things like that. So brands are rushing to adopt influencer marketing campaigns, because a lot of this, we've talked about influencer marketing quite a bit on this show, and it is a double-edged sword. It is nothing short of a very sharp, you need to be, if you're holding that sword and you're going, oh, we're going to have influencer marketing campaign, you better be really aware of the edge that's facing back at you, because it is, and it is sharp, and it may actually be sharper than the one that you're getting ready to swing. So just so you understand what we're talking about, if you have an influencer, you align your brand with that person, you need to make sure that influencer is absolutely reflects everything that has to do with your brand. Because if there's divergence there between those two things, you're going to get hurt by it. And if they do something stupid, out in the world, you're in the stupid train. You're on the stupid train with them until you can punt them off, right? When Bill Cosby, endorsed forever, Jell-O, so much so that he was synonymous with Jell-O and Jell-O pudding. When all these allegations, come out about Bill Cosby, Jell-O had to find a way to get off the train. We want to disconnect the Cosby engine from the train here because now we're stuck too. So you want to be careful about your influencers, particularly if they are celebrities. I think that's where it comes in. But I mean, let's say, and disclosure. You obviously always want to make sure that you're disclosing what people are getting, for their relationship with you. Lots of people have been burned, and there are legal rules about your disclosures too from the FTC. Email me later; I can send you the guidelines that you need to know. The blogger guidelines. I'm fairly famous, but I'm just saying, if email me later if you need to know more about influencer stuff. Now, influencer marketing, again, really isn't new, but I'm going to put it in winning especially because of this study that shows that 70% show that their purchasing decision is affected by content they're seeing shared on the web. So that is really proof positive that you need to have good content out there, and and when that content is shared, that means something to the brand. So make sure that your communications program, involves that in some way, and monitor that as well. Women are winning, not just Wonder Woman, but science has confirmed that women's intuition is a real thing. Science has proven what we've thought for a long time. Women are just better at reading people's emotions. And they pull off this magic trick by looking at people's eyes. So a research team from around the world tested if there were any genetic variants associated with cognitive empathy, which is our ability to understand another person's emotional state at a glance. So 90,000 people, big sample size, by the way, shown different photographs of people's eyes, and then they were asked to say what they thought the person's mood was. The results, women consistently outperform men in this study because women look at people's eyes and can read them. So when they talk about women's intuition, remember that it's probably just looking people in the eyes. It's not always comfortable to make eye contact with people, and you should observe this in your own behavior. Look and see how many times you actually lock eyes and make eye contact, and then figure out how connected in the conversation you can be, how much more connected you can be when you do that. It's really, really fascinating field of study, and I urge you to look at this. There's a lot of news articles about this post about women's intuition in there today that you will probably enjoy as well. So women are winning. That's what I'm going to say. Close to home, the Orange County Water District, I think, is losing their mind. We had the big drought. You remember the drought, and then they finally declared, okay, we got enough rain. We don't have a drought anymore. We're good. But now they've got an idea that is not a new idea, but it's just always a bad idea, it seems. So they were out along Hollywood Boulevard and giving out free bottles of water on this past Wednesday, which was a nice treat on a hot day. But then they told people, after they gave them the free bottles, that this water was once swirling in a toilet. So the ultra-purified recycled water, this is a thing to promote their new toilet-to-tap initiative. Today, here's the quote. Today we launch a year-long effort to reach as many people we can and share successes and promote a very sustainable process that will increase our water reliability in the state. We're able to produce safe and great-tasting water, so let's do all we can to preserve local water supplies by reusing them. So, remember Kevin Costner in the movie Waterworld, right? Everybody remember that one? If not, make sure you add that to your queue and enjoy that. Waterworld is all about what happens when the world runs out of water, right? And wars are fought and battles are fought over the idea of water. And so Kevin Costner, not to put too fine a point on it, pees into a device, and then it's like a Keurig kind of thing, like a pee-driven Keurig. And then he drinks the substance, afterwards, and everybody in the theater, when I went to it, this old movie, when I went to it, everybody in the theater went, oh my God, the idea, right? The idea of it. And this is a fictional thing going on screen, Ironically, later in the movie, he like stabs somebody with a big piece of pipe or whatever, and everybody's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, but did he drink that pea water? What am I saying? Anyway, fascinating demographic study there for your own personal use later. But I think this is tricky. It's going to be somebody's job. First of all, you don't hand them the water on Hollywood Boulevard and then tell them it's toilet water. I know what you're trying to do there, but you're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself there at all. Education is your friend here. If it's your job to communicate to people that, toilet water that isn't now in the tap is going to be safe, that's a tough one because you're going against a mountain of emotions and a mountain of stuff that is not rooted in facts. It's rooted in feelings. And how do you argue feelings, right? So you would have to approach that very slowly, you'd have to have your own sort of emotional approach. That's what I would advocate. And again, work on that message, and not that standard water company district message like we have to preserve our resources and blah, 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 blah. No, yeah, nobody cares about that. So I wouldn't do stuff like that. But I'm going to say that that's losing because they're not getting the best press coverage. Every article I've written about I've read about toilet to tap is terrible. It has the word, ooh and gross and nasty, and it has all kinds of negative adjectives associated with it. So they've got a long way to go. And we're going to put the Orange County Water District in the losing category for all that fun stuff. Okay. Article that came out on June 22nd from the Washington Post says that the electric guitar is dying. It says that the electric guitar is dying. It is, a fascinating long article from the fake news about this story, and it is, it's interesting to me. There's data in it, there's opinions in it, there's a lot of stuff in it. But just from your journalistic perspective, here's what I'll say: who you decide to interview for your story can largely determine the outcome of your story. There's a lot of people interviewed in this story that are sort of known to be negative naysayers and complainers and have been for, well, let's just say decades, from my knowledge. So if you're going to interview those people, then you owe it to yourself to interview some people that are doing really, really well, because there's a lot of, if you're going to make the point, the guitar is not dying. Ask Taylor Guitars in San Diego if the guitar sales are dying, or if their guitar sales are plummeting, in quotes. They are not plummeting. They are rising. Some companies' sales are plummeting. And I would attach that to the idea of perhaps their innovation isn't where it used to be. Perhaps they're not taking advantage of the latest technology. Perhaps they're, there could be a number of different reasons. But to assert that against the idea that interest in the electric guitar is waning is some of the most irresponsible journalism I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And then you look at the Washington, and you're like, this is the Washington Post, and they have these sensationalistic, terrible headlines. Read the story for yourself. It's got this crazy WordPress black background with a guitar on fire in the background. Stop it, Washington Post. Just do it in black and white. What's the matter with you? You're supposed to be a newspaper. Instead you create like a WordPress blog that looks like it's like, Gwar is gonna stick their head out and blow blood at you through the screen. It's like, what's the matter with you? Here's what I'll say. I don't see, and of course there's people in the article that say, oh, well, the guitar's dying because there's no more guitar heroes. There's no guitar heroes for this generation. That is some of the most insulting old guy speak I've ever heard in my life. And it's stupid. It's not based on anything, dudes. Please don't, John, guys like John Mayer, Jason Mraz, Prince, probably the greatest guitar player who ever lived, and his influence is still around. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. When guys like that read There's No More Guitar Heroes, it really pisses them off. they are phenomenal guitar players. They have millions and millions and tens of millions of fans across the United States of America. So, but you just throw out these broad statements of, well, there's no guitar heroes anymore since Hendrix passed. Bull crap. There's plenty of people that play the guitar. I mean, it stuns me. It literally stuns me that this piece of journalism comes out here, and it's so incredibly biased and so incredibly stupid and wrong. Got to say, this guy named Jeff Edgers, who wrote this story, he wanted to write this story so he could get some sensationalistic clicks on a website for the Washington Post. This is what Donald Trump's talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I got to say, journalism, man. Remember when journalism used to make a point? Used to do something valuable for society. Now they're just trying to get you to click and be outraged. And I guess it worked for me because I did click and I was outraged. I'll put that in losing. And don't write a one-sided journalism piece on the guitar unless you're damn well ready to interview some people who are doing great, and there's plenty of them out there, so that's what I'd say. Anywho's, can we talk about Bill Cosby just for a second? Speaking of losing, I mean, obviously winning, he had a mistrial in his case, but Cosby is now going to hold, fresh off of his mistrial, which is of course not a not guilty verdict. It's just the legal profession convoluted the process and got him off sort of verdict. But Cosby will now host a series of town halls to educate young people on sexual assault. Good God, ladies and gentlemen. Cosby wants to get back to work and is planning town halls that could start as early as next month. He says this issue can affect any person, especially young athletes. What issue are we talking about? Raping people? It doesn't affect everybody. It affects you because you raped people. That's what I would say. And why would you hold a series of town halls? Just go to the Caribbean. Just go to the Caribbean. You got off. You should be thanking the Lord above that you got off on this thing, that your lawyers were able to, OJ your way to a verdict on this stupid thing. But everybody in the world knows that you did it. All right? So don't hold town halls to educate us. What a bunch of bullcrap. And honestly, that's losing. That's a lot of losing. If you're PR for Bill Cosby, you should be ashamed of yourself. In the same way, you should be ashamed of yourself that the whole sexual assault thing came up because of a PR idea where he decided he was going to let the internet meme him. Oh, meme me. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, well, how about we start talking about all the sexual assault charges? Maybe that could happen. Communications is a weapon that can cut you as much as it can cut through. Just so you know, that's who's winning and losing. Come on back. I'm going to give you some tips about how to keep things in the right order on May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, bye.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are back with May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott. We just did winning and losing, and man, that was a cavalcade of stuff going on there. Paul, what do you like this week? What worked for you?
Well, for the guitar thing, I agree with you. You just because you're, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm old and I'm out of touch, and I may be too hung up on Hendrix and Clapton and David Gilmour, stuff like that. But I'm not going to presume that there aren't guitar players out there just because I'm not necessarily up to what the kids are into. I mean, there's gazillion. We did a clinic at a couple of weeks ago with the guy Tabasi for Animals as Leaders. What is it?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and just there's so many, and like you said, John Mayer is like, he's incredible.
Come on,
like he surprised me.
Jason
really,
Mraz.
Yeah,
come on. Wow.
Like Mayer, like I only found out about him with like all the girly ballady songs, and then when I actually saw him like play, I was like, holy crap, this guy is like, he is Hendrix level. I saw John Mayer last summer with the Dead and Company. He like killed it. He's awesome.
Well, you know what? Every once in a while, somebody will, one of these folks that think that music peaked in 1969 or whatever, will come, that acts like they speak for the entire music products industry, will say, what you need to do is you need more guitar heroes out there. You need billboards of Eddie Van Halen playing and billboards that tell people, isn't it fun to play the guitar? What a bunch of crap. I mean, that's short-sighted, non-research based, completely opinionated garbage from word one.
Yep.
Yep. There's nothing to support that. Article like this is completely stupid, especially that people could believe this and go, oh, well, I guess the guitar's going away. I guess everybody's going to be a DJ now. It's like, no.
They should go on a tour together with Bill Cosby to town halls, convince people that the guitar is dying, and
oh my God!
And whatever message Bill Cosby's trying to convey. Is this going to be a tutorial? Is this going to be a how-to?
I'd like to talk to you people today about the sexual assault. I'd like to say how you do it the right way.
What you do is you put the Quaalude in the Jell-O.
Oh my God. Someone suggested this to him, like his PR team. I mean, where is your PR team when someone suggests to you after you get a mistrial on sexual assault charges that has absolutely destroyed your legacy and your career? Where is your PR counsel that says, oh, Mr. Cosby, that's the dumbest damn idea I've ever heard in my entire life. We need to get you on a plane. Barbados is wonderful this time of year. What do you say? Let's grab Camille, grab a damn suitcase. Let's get on the friggin' plane. Let's get our ass to Barbados, because we just skated the United States legal system for crimes that he most certainly did commit.
Yeah, crazy.
That's what I say.
It's, I guess, like with people like that, where they convince themselves in their own mind of the reality that's completely not everybody else's reality. Like in his head, somehow he probably believes he didn't do anything wrong.
Where is the win here? Where is the win? If you're PR for Bill Cosby, every single time you hold one of these town halls, what's the headline? Is the headline
Bill
positive?
Cosby gets hit by rocks from an angry crowd? That's the only way I can see this working out.
The first sentence goes, Bill Cosby, who recently was acquitted,
there you go.
Recently had a mistrial for sexual, and then it has a paragraph about your sexual assault stuff. You're not going to save your legacy, man. It's over. Grab a Coke and a smile and a Jell-O pudding pop and get the hell to Barbados.
And take the win.
Take the win, man. Jeez. It stuns me. There are people in my job that he is consulting that say this is a good idea. That's a thing. There are people being paid, and they're like, no, you should do that. It's like that's malpractice. It's insane. Anyway,
maybe it's like maybe they just want to have him dig himself deeper and deeper, so he could give him more money to come up with more brilliant ideas for him.
We should do another meme contest.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Never ask we always talk about never ask the internet to do two things.
Rapey McRape face.
That's right. Never ask the internet to name anything, ever, no matter how good idea it is. If your social media millennial comes up to you and goes, oh, we should have the internet name this for us, punch them in the face where they're unconscious. Right then. Right there. Knock them out. That's the only thing that's going to save you from that point out. And then when they suggest we should, we should have the internet meme us. Let's create a meme contest. That's never going to go positive. It's going to go to a sexual place very, very quickly. Yeah. Have you seen the internet?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to say, it's just the mind-blowing stupidity of human beings never ceases to amaze me. I don't think I'll ever be over it.
This is idiocracy. We're into it full blast.
Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Well, thank you, Paul. That was a fun discussion. Now let's get into, for the remaining time on the show, and the show has all been about the order of things, the order of smart things or doing things in a wise way. I did want to spend some time on sort of the 5 ordered steps for effective marketing, because I do not feel that enough people are following all 5 steps. They're jumping right to step 3/step 3.5. and then calling that a complete marketing program. It is not. So what are these steps? Step number 1, research. Research. It's not exciting. It's not exciting work. It really isn't nearly as exciting. It's not, and I apologize for that. I really do. I know that there are lots of marketers out there that are just dying to show how creative they are. And you are, and we love you, and you should be. But research guides us to understanding the audience and understanding cool little things that we can execute on, right? Research. I'll tell the story, the Blendtec story one more time about, Blendtec was a company that made industrial blenders, for kitchens and things like that. And one day the CEO and the director of marketing are walking around where they're testing the blenders. They're down in the testing area, doing some research, some management by walking around sort of stuff. And they notice all this sawdust on the floor. And they say to one of the engineers, they're like, hey man, why is there so much sawdust on the floor around these blenders? What's going on? And then the guy kind of sheepishly says, when everybody goes home, we take the handles from the brooms and we put them in the blender and we see if the blender is going to blend it, and we burn them down with the blender, and it creates some sawdust, sir. And the CEO and the director of marketing are kind of walking around and they're like, wait a minute. They said, so you're saying that our blenders can chop up a freaking broom handle? And the guy's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. See all the sawdust? That used to be a broom handle. So they said, let's use this. That nugget of research changed the pathway of that company's marketing program and their financial fortunes forever. The reason that you've probably heard of Blendtec is because they created a YouTube series years ago called Will It Blend? And they decided to start blending unconventional stuff in a blender. One of the most popular ones that got millions and millions of hits is when they took an iPhone. They put an iPhone in there, and they chopped that bad, and they said, will it blend? Will an iPhone blend? And it's fascinating. I don't know if it's just a dude thing or whatever, but I like to see blenders chopping stuff up. That entertains me. I've watched a lot of episodes of Will It Blend. Now, did I buy that blender? I don't really have a blender, I got to say. If I had to buy a blender, I'm sure I would think of that brand. I'm sure I would. I don't actually have one. So, it would probably be good message probably wouldn't be the best message for me because, again, not in the market for the product. But, the research was sound. The research was sound, and it was real. Research. Sometimes you can find out extraordinary things. As we talked about a lot of times on this show, social media, an extraordinary library of research. People just talk about brands nonstop. On Instagram, there's so many channels that people are talking about brands. Twitter, Facebook, there are so many places where people are talking about you. So, and I'm not saying get in there and start talking. They don't want to hear from you. It's their feed, all that, right? We talked about social media. Go reference the previous lessons on social media for that whole, it's not about you, it's about me, media kind of thing. But, you can learn a lot by just listening. You can learn a lot. Twitter is built as an open architecture. So that means, when people, if you know how to search different keywords that people are using, you can see everybody that's talking about those things during that time, right? And then you can see what they say, and maybe that could lead you some incredible stuff. So research doesn't have to be this big formal thing with you in a lab coat and focus groups. I'm not a big fan of focus groups anyway. I did focus groups for years, and I think that people just kind of tell you what you want to hear, even if they don't realize that's what they're doing. They just kind of, nobody likes a confrontation, and very few people in a focus group, when you're feeding them with free cookies and, all the junk food they can eat and stuff, and they're eating the free cookies and they're eating the free, they're drinking the free beverages and everything. And they're like, you know what? I think your product really sucks. I got to say, I know you've been working on this for a long time and it's your baby and everything, but I really feel like this is just a real turd. And everybody involved in this thing needs to be punished in some way. If we could find the appropriate punishment, nobody's going to say that, right? There's no win in it for them. They don't have to share the truth for you because all they have to do to get the free cookies is go, I think it's great. Would you buy this? I won't buy this. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it. They're lying to you. You're lying to yourself. Stop it. There are great other places where you can research things, though, just so you know. Step 1, research. Again, I know it's not sexy. It's real important. Do not skip this phase. Do not skip this phase, ever. Step number 2, message. Do not skip over the message. Do not skip into logo and Facebook page before you have designed the message. Okay? Do not skip over, we have to design a one sheet for our, we need to design a one sheet for our investors before you've gone through the message. The message is really, really, really important. Really important. Okay? Not a skippable thing. Not a skippable thing at all. It's not. You must spend time on it. I have a messaging workshop I do with my clients. I spend about 15 hours on average on the message. If you haven't spent 15 hours on your message, you need to. At least that long. I'm good at it, so I can do it faster. Don't forget, I've done messaging for many, many years. If this is your first foray into going into it deep, you may want to spend 20. You may want to spend 25. You may want to spend whatever it takes to execute, to get the right message. Really, really important. Again, if there's one lesson from this show, it's that you cannot skip these first 2 steps, no matter how anxious you are to communicate. Step 3, everybody's favorite step, execution tactics. Oh my gosh. We're excited now. Now we're excited. We're executing. Oh my God, there's logos, there's one sheets, there's websites, there's social media pages, there's promotions, there's public relations, there's all kinds of things. We're executing, right? It's a damn tornado of execution. It's a great phase. It's really important. Make sure that you, make sure the other two steps precede it. Very, very, very important. And then when you're doing your execution, and again, this is just a public service announcement out there, be really respectful and be really respectful of the relationship that you're cultivating with your audience. And part of that respect means we're only going to communicate when it's great. We're only going to communicate when it's going to be worth it to you. when it's going to help you do something that you want to do, when it's going to push things forward. We're not going to put our marketing on autopilot. I saw a headline in Facebook this week. Please, God, save us from these companies. This company did a sponsored post. You should never do that, by the way. And it said, put your marketing on autopilot. Put your marketing on autopilot. You put in the messages. This thing will just send it out, no matter what aspect of purchasing they are, and it will just and it'll be so great, and you'll never have to think about it again. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? That our profession has come down to a thing that we don't want people to think about before they do? Wrong answer. 100% wrong answer. If anything, we want to be doing nothing but thinking about this stuff and making sure that when we pull the trigger, that it is absolutely necessary to do so. This whole perception that marketing is free and we should just blast people consistently is ridiculous, stupid, and needs to stop yesterday. Marketing can do much better than this for people. We're supposed to be better than this for people. Step 4, measurement. Really, really important. You got to know, are we having an impact out there? Who are we reaching? Why are people liking what we're doing? This measurement piece is really, really important. Don't skip over this either. Don't skip this piece. I know it can be expensive, that kind of thing. People like to skip the measurement piece. Don't skip the measurement piece. Don't ever skip it. Don't ever skip it. Don't ever skip your evaluation, your measurement piece. That piece is built in for a real reason. And the last step is to adjust. We're measuring, we're evaluating, and now we want to make sure we take a step before we communicate again. And you could almost call it going back to the research phase. We're adjusting our message. What do we need to do differently so that we can do a better job of re-engagement? And then when you do that, it's sort of a carousel. It's sort of a circle, right? And you're right back into research. Then you're right back into message. Does the message still work based on what we know? And now we're executing. Oh, we're happy now. And now we're measuring. We're not as happy because it's boring. That kind of thing. What have we learned today? The order of things in marketing really counts. And yet so many companies just rush off to talk before they even know who they're talking to or why. Well, marketers assemble. We can do better than this, and we must. We owe it to the world to be better and show the very best parts of marketing, which come from following the complete process, not just the little piece that suits us, And if we do this, our marketing will be more effective, and we will have done something good and something important for the rest of the profession in the entire process. Rock on, marketing fans. Until next week, this has been Scott Robertson, host of May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader on Music Biz Talk. Have a great weekend. We will see you next Friday.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Entertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?